Welcome to Family Business Diaries, the podcast where we unravel the secrets of family businesses. I'm your host, Maria Santia Samoa, and today we are here with the man, Dr. Sangu Delle.
Sangu is chairman and CEO of CarePoint, a tech-forward healthcare group focused on building Africa's healthcare future. He is also founder and executive chairman of Golden Palm Investment Corporation, one of Africa's leading venture capital firms. Delle has been named a World Economic Forum Young Global Leader, a 2022 Eisenhower Fellow, Africa's Young Person of the Year, a 2014 TED Global Fellow, a 2013 Soro Fellow, one of Forbes' 30 Most Promising Entrepreneurs in Africa, and one of Euromoney's Africa's Rising Stars. Sangu is a member of Harvard University's Governing Board of Overseers Center and a board member of the Ashesi University and Ghana International School. Sangu graduated with a BA, a JD, and an MBA from Harvard University, a master's from Oxford University, and a PhD from the University of Birmingham, UK. He is a mental health activist with a TED Talk on the stigma of mental health, which has garnered over 2 million views. These are the books he has written: Making Futures, Young Entrepreneurs in a Dynamic Africa, and an anthology, Contemporary Africa Through Poetry.
I mean, you've heard the profile, you know the man is loaded. So let's just get ready. Let's listen to his story. Consider it a masterclass because really it's Sangu. So let's get into it. Okay, so Sangu, thank you very much for joining us on Family Business Diaries.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited. I don't know where to start from. But let's take it easy. Tell us a bit about yourself. Maybe something, tell us something about yourself that we don't know. Tell us your journey.
I like hiking and mountain climbing. I have summited Kilimanjaro, and I spent a month doing Mount Everest and went past base camp.
Okay, that's a very interesting way to start. Who puts themselves through that? Seriously.
Yeah.
Everest, you've done it.
Yeah, I did.
Wh-
Past
wh-
base camp, summited Kalapata.
Why?
You know, one of the things I love about mountain climbing is that you are removed from the noise of our everyday living, and you're immersed in nature in a very special way. And it's where sometimes I get the best thinking, and it's where sometimes I most hear God speak to me, because
Moving away from the noise.
it's in the silence that we hear the
Yes.
Lord, right? It's
You can be in your room.
yes, by your room there's distractions.
So you climb a mountain.
Yeah.
Amazing.
There's a certain and you're in nature, right? There's a certain marvel at the wonders that God has made. So I enjoy it a lot.
We're getting to know the secret sauce, how you do your thing. So this is good. A good tip for you guys. Okay. All right. So let's come down the mountain for a second. Let's talk. I mean, we have so much we can learn from you, but we want to talk family business. Now, I've heard your story. You have such a unique story when it comes to family business. And I actually told my dad about it. I was like, do you know this is what they did? He's like, ooh. Then I thought maybe I shouldn't even give him such ideas because then it comes back to bite me. But we want to talk about your family business journey, okay? I mean, big guy, gone to Harvard, done all these things, and then he decides to come back, join family business. Talk us through the journey. What made you come back? How you decided to, work with the family. Tell us about that journey.
Sure. So, by the grace of God, I was in the US. I got a scholarship to attend the Pedi School, where I did the equivalent of sixth form, and then continued the rest of my education there between there and the UK. But 19 years ago, so in 2006, I had set up Golden Palm Investments.
Yeah.
And at that time, I had done a lot of research and crunching global economic historical data from the year 1000 AD to 2000 AD. And I was looking at meta trends. And I observed that across time, space, geography, similar phenomena happened. So whether you are in Russia, Brazil, whether you are in 1246 or 1832, there were certain things that happened to whether urbanization rates reach a certain level or per capita income reaches a certain level, and you saw similar phenomena occur with respect to consumer preferences, changes in behavior, development patterns. And so my thesis basically was, why should Africa be any different? And that you can actually look at this global economic historical trajectory and extrapolate it for our context. And so decided to invest behind that thesis. And so was doing that for quite some time. Next year will be 20 years. Next year we'll be celebrating
Wow.
20 years.
We have to celebrate big.
Yeah. So did that for a long period of time. We got involved. We're one of the earliest venture capital firms in investing in a lot of the tech ecosystem. But prior to that, us getting involved in tech, we actually incubated the businesses from scratch. So agriculture, we will take a thesis, we'll incubate from scratch. So as an example, when at that time we're looking at the research, if you looked at birth rates, at that time Africa had among the highest birth rates in the world. I think at the time I did the research, average birth rate in sub-Saharan Africa was about 5.9 or so, right? Versus, you look at Europe, where it's about 1.4, US
China.
1.7, China,
Yeah.
where it's well below replacement level,
child
1.1,
policy.
and then you look at Japan, where it's actually the birth rate is below
Yes.
death rate, right? Yeah,
That one
there's
is
a
disturbing.
real existential crisis.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen if our birth rate is so high? It means we're going to have lots of babies. If we have lots of babies, what does that mean? It means the babies need to be fed,
Yeah.
right? And so
Exactly.
we then got into the baby food business, manufacturing baby food. So that was the sort of approach where you would take a thesis that's backed by the data and the projections, and you will build a business around that opportunity. So healthcare was one of those sectors that we identified as a very strong an important sector. I mean, there's no region in the world that has ever developed without having a robust and strong healthcare sector. I mean, it's 20% of US GDP, right? And it's a very important sector, not just for social reasons and development reasons, but even economic reasons. It's generally a strong employer and a strong contributor to GDP. So we looked at healthcare across Africa. We're about 16% of global population, yet we're responsible for 25% of the global disease burden. So 1 in 4 diseases globally are in Africa, but 1 in 4 people are not. And we only have 3% of global healthcare workers, and over 50% of Africans do not have access to modern medicine. So we saw a huge opportunity here to be able to actually leverage technology and take a hybrid approach to bridge the gap. Now, my father, as you all know, founded Rabito back in 1974.
I wasn't born.
Neither was I. So back in 1974, and he had a different approach in which he was doing it. Almost, I teased him that because he was CPP, he was taking a communist approach to the business. Because at one point, there were about 33 branches. 33, but of the 33 branches, only 2 were profitable.
So it was just making a difference.
Yeah, it was literally, he would literally just go into a community.
Social enterprise.
They don't have a health facility here, then you just set one up, right? Even though it made 0 sense from a numbers perspective, but the 2 were kind of propping the remaining 31.
That was taking care of the rest.
Taking care of the rest. And so that was going on. Of course, at that time, he, you know, old school. He only, it's just in the last few years that he learned how to use the iPhone properly. Before it was just pick up the phone, hang up the phone. And then now I saw that, you know, the other time he video called me and I almost fell off my bed. Like, what's going
That
on?
is adapting,
I said,
okay?
listen, whichever young person is there showing him these things, they need to stop, okay?
Well, you don't want to. He's trying to get to the
Yeah,
times, please.
Next thing I'll know, he'll be telling me ChatGPT.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, so, you know, at first, so had a thesis on this, tried to pitch him on certain things, wanted to, you know, almost taking like an advisory role in trying to restructure things. And you know how the old people are. I've been doing it like this since 1974. Where were you where were you when we were we? Trying to explain this whole technology thing.
He wasn't buying it.
So I said, okay. So my brother, my older brother Bango, and I, who had
Older
been
brother
working
sucks.
together. Yeah,
That's-
we've been working together literally for 19 years.
Wow.
So we had set up Golden Palm. When I set up Golden Palm, he was the first person I brought in to partner with me. And so we had a discussion about it, and we said, look, I really think this thesis is going to play out. Now we could have gone out and just done whatever, you know, do it on our own. But
Yeah.
I was also worried about the succession issue, right? In that none of us were
Involved.
clinicians, none of us were practicing medicine. And so you realize if you look in Ghana and quite frankly across a lot of other African landscapes, you see that a lot of the top medical facilities and hospitals were founded by doctors who were amazing at what they did. Oftentimes they did so well that they sent their kids abroad.
Yes.
Most of them don't come back, or they end up not doing medicine, and then they die, and that's it.
The story ends.
So many stories
Painful.
like that in Ghana.
Yeah.
And it's such a disservice to their legacy. It's a disservice to our country. It's a disservice to the economy. I mean, it's just, it's really not the best. And so I also wanted to solve for that issue at a personal level, in addition to saying that, look, I think this tech approach is going to be a very good one. So we pitched them on a different idea then. We said, look, we'll pick why don't we pick one of the clinics that are just not doing well, right? And you have nothing to lose. It's not doing well anyway. And we'll pilot that. So we structured it, got our lawyers, like we paid.
Business.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. We paid.
Yes, that was the part that got to me.
Yeah, no, we paid, and when I can jump it. We paid. We acquired the one in Tema, put in place our business plan and thesis, relocated it, you know, renovated it, brought in technology, digitized EMR, completely changed the business model to be super focused on, to make it patient centric.
Yeah.
In fact, we didn't even use the word patient anymore. We started referring to them as customers, because you realize that I find that when you use the word patient, it almost changes the balance of power.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, you're the patient, you are sick,
you need,
you know.
You need it.
But when you think of it as customer,
it's a business transaction.
I mean, look, no, like that customer is the reason you're here.
Yeah.
You know, the customer is always right. That, you know, you're here to serve the customer. And so even just that orientation alone. And we rigorously collect data on everything. Data show that 80% of all new patients come because of word of mouth referral. So I tell my team all the time, that means that 80% of our marketing needs to be internal. Is the experience.
Yeah.
And having that great experience is going to make that customer the evangelist for your product or your service. So we did it, and literally in a year, we ended up increasing revenues by about 20 times.
What did that say?
And over the 2-year period, we ended up expanding margins about 10x.
And what did he say?
I mean, in the famous words of Jay-Z, men lie, women lie, numbers don't.
Numbers don't.
Right? So the proof was in the pudding. And then we acquired a second, in
Still
Kumasi.
paying like literally
Yeah.
Business
We
transaction.
acquired a second. And then after because I was also being very, I wanted, you could say Tema is a fluke.
Yeah.
Maybe we're just
You're
lucky,
lucky.
right? So even for ourselves, I always think it's important to approach business with a necessary dose of humility, right? And so we acquired a second in Kumasi. We had similar fantastic results. And then we made them an offer to acquire the whole thing.
Like these small boys coming to sit in front of me to say what? And he was fine with it because you had proven yourself at this point,
We'd
right?
proven it. Look, the argument we also made was, look, there's a succession issue. It's your legacy, and this is what we're. And the argument we also made is, look, yes, we're business people, we're entrepreneurs, but we actually also love you and care about you, right? So the legacy part is also going to be important. So some of my friends would tell me that,
he would have given it to you anyway, so why didn't you just wait?
very good. In fact, someone joked and said, a friend of mine said, so you paid money for your inheritance. But there was a number of reasons. One, my father. My father who said his father only left him Kyoto.
Are you serious? So you just...
Don't listen. Don't bank on that inheritance.
Wow.
he might swerve you.
And give it to the community. What will he do?
Yeah. But in all seriousness, the reason we decided to do that was this. I knew that if we didn't, we will never have full control to move the enterprise in a direction that we wanted.
Yeah.
Right? Because already the founder has an oversized role. Right? And so if you want to do A and he wants to do B, it's B that's going to happen. Right? And that would just be frustrating.
Yeah.
So when you've actually done it in a arm's length transaction, it's different. Right? So now it's if you want to move the company in the direction of A, it's A. Of course, he's the founder, he's our biggest asset. He did this for about 50 years. So we rely a lot on him for we made him chairman of the board. He still practices to this day.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, he practices Monday to Saturday. He when he's not doing his kingdom stuff in Nandom, he practices. And he's still our chief consultant, dermatologist, and importantly, he's training the next generation, which to me is the most important impact he can have. It's a better use of his time than trying to
just run operations.
The business. And moreover, as I shared, his CPP socialist communist ideologies caused issues. And look, I care. Anyone who knows me knows I care very deeply about impact and helping and giving back. But I think you need to be very careful, because if it has to be sustainable. So if you build a system that is not sustainable, that's not self-sustaining,
you're doing a disservice, because in the end, it just goes, and everybody loses out.
Exactly.
Amazing story. Now, the first thing, for me, the first thing I've learned or picked from this is data is king, right? Because everything that you've done is based on research. You're not just moving, but you use the data to determine where we're going. That's what you use to almost decide that, listen, family business, daddy, we need to do this, but these are the numbers. I think it's very important, and maybe that's one of the things that we overlook as next gens. We're just moving into it, but actually having the data, because sometimes you pick a service, or you decide to join your parents, but if you're looking at data, you realize that the business has moved from this level, like this is what the market is doing now. Maybe you need to pivot, you need to do all these things, but we ignore data a lot. We don't.
The data is so important, and I say not just in business, in every facet of life. I was, as you know from my social media, I was very deeply involved in the political situation in Ghana the last several years with the economic implosion. I was very vocal.
Very much.
Yeah. And I got involved in the campaign. And one of the things I realized was in one constituency in which I was heavily involved in the campaign, I was collecting and looking at a lot of data.
Yeah.
And the other person running was not relying on a lot of data.
Emotions.
And there was almost a way in which, and I find this especially with some of the older folks, where they almost look down on data or look down on technology, or are just like, what's this, right? Or if you want to talk about leveraging technological tools to engage with constituents, it's like, what are you talking about?
Waste of time and money.
The data shows otherwise. The number of Ghanaians on Facebook, on TikTok, on IG, the young people who engage with it, who use it as a means to actually, the data shows otherwise. And having that data approach, I'll never forget, the day of the election, I run into the candidate, the opposing candidate, who funny enough is related to me. And you know, he voted at his branch. We said hello to each other, and he made a joke and said, you know, your efforts are laudable but wasted. I've taken
You
it.
should wait for us to count.
But he felt so confident that he had won. I knew at that moment he had lost because I knew the data.
The data.
I knew the data. I knew the exit polling we were doing. I knew the data because we were super data driven in how we approached it. And to this day, he cannot understand and cannot believe how he lost. He is in utter shock.
Wow.
And so this data thing, it's across the board, right? In education, I'm on the board of Ghana International School. I chair 𝐔𝐿, and I'm on the board of Harvard. And in all those institutions, I see how data even plays a role in pedagogy, right? And how you unpack that data to understand what's going on here, right? It's not just you just go and you say, oh, this boy is not doing well, or he's not. No, unpack it. Let's look at the data. Let's actually understand what's driving that. Let's look at, okay, you say maybe we're not getting girls interested in STEM. Okay, let's dig into the data then.
What is it that?
Right, what's happening here? Are you are the teachers calling on them equally? Are they you know, and when you start digging into the data and asking questions that elicit those sorts of data, it gives you a better sense of understanding, and by better understanding the problem, you can better procure the solution.
We started this, so you know, just in doing research for the podcast and all, I mean, looking at stats in terms of the number of businesses that, you know, die with the founder, all those things, I realized that when it comes to Ghana, there's very little data. For instance, we started this initiative called the Family Business Registry. We're actually trying to collect data. I mean, that's why I was interested in what you said, right? But actually getting data on family businesses in Ghana, and actually, you know, following up almost every other year or something, but who are the people sitting as owners? What generation is it? What is the business doing? You know, what is the annual income? Things like that. And just following these businesses, hopefully for years to come, so that we can now actually say, when we're mentioning statistics, we don't say, okay, well, the global stats say 30% of businesses. What is the Ghana one? We keep saying that we know that the Ghana one is, you know, even worse, but we don't know what those numbers are. And I think it's important. So that's why I was super interested in that. So thank you for sharing so much on data. Now, as you spoke about your dad, somehow my mind went to how you started a business with your brother, because that's also,
it's also family business.
And when we had a program in August, and it was about next gen. It was the next generation of family business leaders coming together just to, you know, let's talk. And one of the first problems most people mentioned, I thought it would be about working with their parents, but it was about working with siblings and how that was the frustrating point for most people. It was a big challenge. So let's move from daddy's point a bit, because I feel like you really got away. You got away with it. You got it right with your dad. But working with your brother from Instagram, I know you have a good relationship. You tease him a lot though, but but what's it like working with siblings?
So it's a very interesting dynamic, and I've worked with all my siblings, right, before, because we initially had, so my brother had my other brother, so we're four boys, right, and my sister. So the four boys were all entrepreneurs. So two of my brothers had started a business in some other sectors.
Okay.
Bango and I, like I said, got involved with Golden Palm from the
Golden Palm.
beginning. At one point, I actually engineered a merger to,
For you to
yes, I engineered a merger where we basically had this like combined conglomerate structure of sorts, bringing all the
Sangu
business,
boys.
I kind of had this vision of after the Sawiri brothers in Egypt,
Trying to
and
do yeah.
bring everyone together and all of that. Um, uh, the experiment didn't work as
Oh, I think
quite as how I planned it or as I envisioned it, because we approached very differently, right? So, for example, I had a very big thesis on technology and venture, which was at odds with my other brother, who had his thesis was more on the, for lack of a better word, the real economy, right? So he would be more, we should be doing real estate, or we should be doing these things. And I'm like, well, if I look at it from a return on investor capital perspective, we should be repositioning the portfolio for that. And so after a while, we actually spun out.
So back to Tutu.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
And
Respectfully, right?
oh yeah.
No drama.
Look, he named his first son after me.
Okay, so then
right?
you're on good terms.
So like it's not, but it was, and I think to me that's also something that's important, is that if there's a misalignment, it doesn't have to be a fight, right? We both got to a point and said, okay, look, if you want to move right and I want to move left, it doesn't make sense. So then we need to just kind of support each other. We love each other, but there has to be that alignment, right? Now, Bangu and I have worked, next year will be 20 years of us working together. We did Golden Palm together. When we created CarePoint, we did it together. And we've worked extremely well for a number of reasons. One is there's a fundamental foundation of deep trust and mutual respect and understanding, right? The second is there's an alignment of values, strong alignment of values. The third is there is total absence of ego, complete total absence of ego.
That's so important.
Extremely important. And the fourth is and the fourth is probably the most important, which is we really approach things faith-led, right? So, we're both men of faith, and we really approach this I see doing business also as its own form of ministry.
It is.
Right? And so when you approach it with the same principles, right? When you approach it with biblical principles, you do it differently. Going back to and one more I'll add is also communication. A lot of people are surprised that my brother and I, next year will be 20 years of working together. Two interesting facts. One is we've never fought.
How?
In fact, my entire life, we've never fought. It doesn't mean...
the youngest, right?
Yeah. It doesn't mean we haven't had disagreements. As for my other siblings, especially Charlie. And of course, but the one just ahead of me, Charlie, Giorgio. Siblings, you fight here and there. Bangu and I have never had a single fight ever. Doesn't mean we don't disagree. But we just have this thing going where if I tell him something, he just listens. And he'll be the, if he tells me something, I'll be the first one. Like, sorry is the easiest thing between, because there's no ego. There's no bad
Wow.
intentions. We have never fought.
You're blessed.
We have never fought. And it's, you know, when you're getting, if I'm getting any criticism, I know it's coming with love. So I don't get defensive.
Hey.
I'm grateful for it. Right. And it's, I didn't appreciate how special that was until, you know, you take it for granted because that's your norm.
Yeah.
Right. We've never fought. The second thing, and I think that really speaks to his character. He is my older brother. He is the oldest of the sons.
Oh, he's actually the first.
Yeah, he's the first boy. Yet in the company, I'm the chief executive officer. He's the chief operating officer. How many Africans
dare you?
Thank you. But my brother has no ego. He's like, where we've been, he's like, okay, this makes sense for the company. Let's go. And I'm fully 100,000%
You need to get like a
behind you.
framework that will all
You know,
other siblings can use, because
it's because for him, it's not about ego. It's
let's
about
get to work.
how can we work best? What's our greatest strengths, right? And how do we leverage that? And it's also because I also, you know, we check our egos at the door. So I always say that when we come to work, it's work, right? There are times if there's something we're working on, there's the understanding. And then when we get home, I'll go and make him coffee. Like, right? Like,
yeah, it's like two different
it's two
worlds.
different
Don't
things.
combine.
Like when we get home, there's no like, hey, like when you get home, I'm little brother. I'm going to,
wow,
you know, get you coffee, and you
so
know,
that respect is
that
key.
respect is key, right? So it's he gives me that. He'll never do that. Hey, I'm your older brother in the office. No, in the office, he comes in and he recognizes, right?
He's committed to the vision as well, right?
He
Because
is.
I think that's where some people get it wrong. And especially in your case, you both went in for a business deal, but in a case where you're working with your father, right? Maybe it doesn't really apply to you. But when I feel like maybe when people are working with parents, they feel we're all entitled to the same thing. And so then that's when the disconnect happens. But there are
Yeah,
lots of frustrated next gens around.
absolutely.
And it's like we
Absolutely.
need to fix that, because then they start walking away from the business and we're
Yeah.
back to the same problem, right?
And that's why you need structure. Look, I'm involved in a business where you have the next gen, 4 of them, because they all have equal shares, right? One is the CEO, the others are all like
They all
among the
see
top
something.
executives, but everybody is executive director, executive. Now, one of the problems they're having is sometimes what the CEO wants to do, they bristle at it, right? They are not all working the same, but is this culture of, okay, everybody gets paid the same, everybody gets all of this the same, and I think that's very problematic. So in those sorts of that's also where you need professionalism and governance.
Yeah.
Right. Where you put in place the right systems and processes. You have a strong board,
Which
right?
most people avoid,
I'll tell you something interesting. My board, the CarePoint board, 6 people on the board, right? I had the right to appoint 4 of the 6, right? So I could have had
your people.
me, my brother, I could have 4. To what end?
You need to think of the business.
In fact, I'm the only person on the board, all 5 I got outside as independent people.
Wow.
Because am I going to a board that I want to just be full of sycophants and yes men? Then what's the point? Then don't even have a board.
Yes.
Right? But the board should be there to ensure that you have world-class governance, that you're stress testing some of your assumptions, you're being held accountable, and you're setting the business up to thrive even beyond you.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, my board 6, 5 of them our non-execs independents, 4 out of the 6 women.
Go you.
So it's important. If you
Yes.
want to succeed and you want to build a world-class business that would outlive you, governance to me is one of the most important things.
Governance, and let me just add that you know they say that when women are nurtured, so when we are involved in things, it actually goes. I just had to put that in there. Please, it had to be in there. But no, certainly, I think that's one of the things that family businesses miss when it comes to governance. It's like, I don't know, power play. Like everybody wants to be up there, but if you have that shared vision and if you know where you're trying to take the business, then you put in the right structures, right, to make it work. But let's do some fun stuff. Tell us, I mean, in all this, because I still don't understand how you haven't fought with your brother, but just the whole family business journey, your father, everything. Give us one low moment. I mean, maybe a point when you're wondering, is this even worth it, or should I be doing this? And then one good one as well.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you in the beginning, it's always the toughest. It's a bit easier if you're even going from 2nd generation, 3rd generation, 4th gen. The toughest is when you're going from the founder to the next gen, right? And in fact, that's part of what really led us to then say, look, let's structure this, because the beginning was difficult, right? Because you're the old man is in his field is second to none.
Yes.
Right?
This is baby.
It's his baby. So it was whew. I mean, there were many moments where I was just like,
listen, I love you, but
I'm just like, why am I here? Right? I almost want to like rewind and just, I'm like, because when I look at, the other, so under CarePoint, we acquired other businesses we did roll-ups in Kenya, in Nigeria, in Egypt.
Yeah.
I don't deal with any of that stress, right?
And
In terms of, yeah, like because so in Nigeria, for example, the business acquired the founder, you don't have any relation to me. So what conversation? You can't come and worry me. But
this one,
Charlie.
The one who made it possible for you to be here, sir.
Right?
Yes.
So there's so those things I'll tell you in the beginning were extremely challenging. And in our social cultural context also, parents are always right.
Yes.
You can't. So
it's
listen. It was a very fraught situation. How was it resolved in a way that worked? Goes back to what I said earlier about governance.
Yeah. Professionalism.
Depersonalize it. It's no longer about this is what I think versus we had a board with lots of eminent people on the board, people that he respects.
You will listen to.
And so it's you because sometimes when you position, I mean, look, let's all be fair to the parents also.
Yeah.
Those of us who are parents, tomorrow, our children will also grow up and will be like, you this one, right? Yes. So we need to also sometimes be a bit fair to them, right? In that it can be difficult sometimes for them.
I've known you to be.
Yeah, but you create that governance structure. It solves it because now it's no longer the board collectively
saying let's do this. Yeah. Okay.
And then data also.
And data.
Where it's not, it's you are showing the data. This. And to his credit, I'll say that over time, through the data and through yielding results, he's grown to trust, appreciate, and support. And he's grown to, dare I say, to be proud. And so we've expanded. We have over 20 plus branches now. In Accra alone, we used to only have Osu.
I know, I was in
Osu. Yeah, which was the flagship. Yes. That's where the old man still consults. Yes. Right.
Oh, he still
consults Monday to Saturday.
Wow.
But now we're in, there's still Osu. We're at East Legon where we are today. We have 2 in Tema, we're in Ashoiman, we're in Dome, we're in La Paz, we're in Dansoma.
And now their businesses are actually doing well. It's not the
yes.
Daddy, we don't mean to shade you.
Right, but what I say is we're still involved in a lot of community stuff, but we'll do it through structured giving.
Because I see that you're doing a lot of big things as well. I mean, helping the community where you come from. I listened to your story. I mean, what's the name of the place again?
Nandom.
Yes, but see, I didn't try to pronounce it. But it's so nice that you're not always there, and yet your heart is there, and you're still giving back and doing so much for your region. It is well, what's the inspiration? What is the thing about, you know?
So
I know I'm deviating, but
yeah, so I'm in Nandom every month. I visit
oh
every month
really?
because my foundation is headquartered there. And you know, I really love my people, right?
Yeah.
Because you look at the Upper West region has the highest poverty rate in Ghana, 71%.
So-
And yet, with so little resources, I mean, we don't have gold, oil, diamond, we don't have those resources. Yet, you're going to see some of the hardest working
But
people.
didn't we just discover gold there? Now you have a gold mine up there.
That's well, not in Nando, but
Close enough.
yeah, they're saying that what I'm hearing also is that they're finding increasingly deposits
It means we're coming.
in the region.
People are moving up soon.
Yeah, but you know, the important thing, we need to make sure that
It's done
it's
right.
mined responsibly
Yeah.
and it doesn't end up creating more problems than it solves.
Yeah.
And that it's also fair to the
The
community.
people.
But you go and you see some of the hardest working people you'll ever meet, right? Who and people in Nandom love learning across the board.
do.
You know, we have a thing we say in Nandom where we say that we don't have gold, we don't have oil, we don't have any of that. All we have is our God and our brains, right? And so there's a big, huge emphasis on learning.
That's that one touch.
We actually have, when you look at, we have the highest per capita educational achievements in the country.
Really?
Yeah.
Data man.
Yeah, I'm telling you. There's no house you go to in Nanum that doesn't have like some PhD, doctor. It's because, but think about it. It was your only path out of poverty.
True.
There was no like,
So
I'm going to work in a mine, right? Or I'm going
Yeah.
to go and do cocoa. It was the only path out of poverty
Learn,
was school.
make it interesting. Wow. No, because I read your profile, I'm like, okay, you're doing all these big things. In fact, you've even expanded. You're out. Like I was wondering why you chose there for your foundation. Why, and your dad is a chief as well.
Yeah, so my dad is the paramount chief of Nandom, and I'm Malu now, so I'm the development chief there. So it's I have a responsibility as part of traditional leadership to make sure that I play a key role in developing the kingdom.
So I know I deviated, but still, there's a point about family businesses. You see, one of the nice thing about family businesses, community development, and it's said that, I mean, for you, if your dad started this, right, developing it's continued. You also have the same passion. You're from the same place. That love is there, so you continue doing it, and that develops the region where you find yourself. So I didn't just deviate. I had a point, right? All right, but let me come back to my question before my producer comes for me. We talked about the low part, which you kind of fixed. Your dad not taking not taking what you're saying, but having the board to fix it. But what's also one really good, exciting thing that, one memory that you have on this family business journey that you hold so dear?
Yeah, I think one of there's an interesting thing about a lot of African parents. African parents, they don't praise you. You even think they think
treading
highly of
dangerous
you.
grounds.
But when they are talking about you to their friends, that's when you'll be shocked.
You hear the
You're just
accolades.
like, what? Right? You're like, everything else you hear from them, you will have no idea, right? And so with all the grief that maybe we're on the receiving end of in the beginning, he was talking about my brother and I to some friends of his, and we're there. And at one point, I had to like rub my eye and pinch myself to make sure I wasn't dreaming. But you could just see deep pride on his face,
Oh.
right? And you could see that he had this sense of relief that, you know, the legacy will go on and endure beyond him. And ultimately, at the end of the day, that's, I think, one of the greatest gifts we can give
Yeah.
to those who come ahead of us, is to make sure that what they've left, we can make it even better than what we
Yeah.
came to find. And if that continues for each generation, and if we do that not just in business, but in how we run our society and how we run this country and how we do everything,
Major
if we
change.
just have that stewardship mentality to say, whatever it is that I'm given, I need to make sure that when I pass it on
It's in a
off to
better
the
state.
next generation, it's in a better state.
Yeah.
We'll progress.
Stewardship. That's the secret. If we have that mindset. Thank you so much. Just curious, would you want your children in the family business? Would you want your children to continue what you're doing?
I would want my goal, and you know, I have a daughter. My goal for my daughter would be for her to pursue what she loves. And if what she loves is in the family business, great. If what she loves is to be a painter, to do music, to be a doctor, to do whatever it is that she wants to do. Because again, it goes back to what I said about making sure that the next generation is better off. So for me, it's and, you know, it's also very different when it's, you know, daddy's girls.
I was about to
So,
go there, but I'm
you
trying to be
know,
nice.
you know,
This
I
soft
like,
answer you're giving.
yeah,
Oh.
like I will confess and say perhaps but look, she has me wrapped around the finger.
It's
She can do whatever she wants. Daddy will be there for her.
oh,
You
nice,
know,
nice.
Daddy will be there for
There's
her.
a thing about fathers and daughters. It's amazing.
You
Yeah.
probably, I mean, everyone has seen has been seen on social media Temi and Easy's wedding.
The houses, yes.
Yeah, I mean, you know, yeah, you know that story. So daddy, and you know, he just, you know, and also he's actually a very shrewd businessman, but then when it comes to his daughter, he just melts and collapses.
Oh my goodness.
So I know that, you know, my daughter is going to have me like
Keep
that.
this, make sure she sees it so she knows, you know.
But by the way, I sent that video to my dad. I said, well, now.
So now change,
No, I
forget your
sent it to him
father's.
and I said, have you seen your classmates? You know, when our parents, someone will do something and they will send to you and say, have you seen your classmates?
Yes.
So now when I see something, I also sent it to him. I said,
do that.
oh, yes, I
Wait.
did. I said, have you also seen your classmates? Where is my house
What
in
was his
Dubai?
response? And it's, please, it's two. One
Two,
of the-
can you imagine?
Yeah. This is next level. It's next. We're learning. We're learning. No, but Sangu, thank you so much for being here. I think just to wrap up, let's advise the founders, the father's classmates, and then let's advise the next gens. What would you tell them if you had one thing to say?
So for the founders, my advice would be one, it's important to really focus on governance, right? And even though you may have been the reason for success up to this point, as we say in finance, past performance is no guarantee of future performance. So I think the best thing you can do, not just for the business, but also for your own relationship with your children, is to depersonalize it when it comes to those critical. Create a well-governed board that can assist. The second thing I'll say for founders is give your children some grace, right? Give your children some grace, right? And even if they make mistakes, it's inevitable. You also made mistakes when you started, but give them some grace and give them some room to be able to grow into it. And you don't want them to always be living in your shadow, because you actually hamper their leadership journey and development. So you need to also know when to leave when the applause is loudest, and allow them to also grow into it, right? For the next gen, governance, right? They really need to embrace governance. The second thing I'll also tell the next gen is give your parents and that generation, also give them some grace, right? Understand the emotional and psychological elements here, right? So don't always a lot of times they might be complaining about A and, B, but it's not actually about A or B. Maybe they're dealing with their mortality. They're dealing, they feel like they're fading away. So you need to also be thoughtful about how do you honor them? How do you leverage the wisdom that they have? And then I always say that, and as much as we bring a lot of energy and ideas and technology and all of that, never look down or underestimate the importance of wisdom, right? What they've seen, what they've experienced. I when I was young, oh my goodness. If you even suggested I should talk to my mother about relationships, I'll jump off a window. like
What does she know?
now that I'm older, I'm the one calling her plenty.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm just like, wow, the wisdom that this woman carries in that head is just mind-blowing, because life is the best teacher. And you cannot,
You can't
you
cheat that.
know, you can't cheat that.
Yeah.
And so my advice would be that, and just, have that stewardship mentality in mind, and approach these things with humility.
Masterclass, I said it and you delivered. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode. I mean, this conversation has been real. You've opened up. You've confessed that your daughter, we have all the secrets. So thank you very much. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation. I think we have to come back. We'll come back for more, because this thing with your brother must be studied,
Well,
we have to study it.
well, then next time you should bring both of us on, and you
Yes.
can also hear from his perspective.
Trust me, I'm going to take you up on this offer. I'll be back. Thank you.
Thank you very
All
much.
right. So to our audience, listen, if you've listened up to this point, then I'm sure you have lots of notes. I'm sure you've taken lots of notes. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode. You heard it yourself. Have governance. Let's depersonalize these things. It helps. It'll maintain the relationship and still get the business moving forward. So that's really important. And give yourself grace. Grace for the next gens, grace for the founders. It's important. So thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Family Business Diaries. As you know, we release new episodes every month, and you can catch us on all podcast streaming platforms and on YouTube at Family Business Diaries. Check out the behind the scenes actions on social media at Family Business Diaries, and you can find us on our website as well, www.familybusinesshub.co. See you on the next episode. Bye.